Let us execute an immediate, sweeping analytical vector shift away from the quiet Midwestern Lake District's live-in domestic homemaker aesthetics and agonizing dual timeline emotional trauma of the contemporary realm, and dive straight back into the shadow-drenched, calculation-heavy tracking parameters of high-stakes dark academy fantasy, weaponized institutional bloodline filtering, and the deeply precarious world of elite supernatural survival. We are crossing the threshold directly into the ancient, blood-stained architecture of a sovereign occult fortress, forbidden magical lineages, and the lethal analytical perimeters of a highly defiant heroine weaponizing her hidden heritage with the Elysean Academy of Darkness and Secrets. The exceptional, pulse-pounding second structural deployment anchoring the globally dominant, chart-topping the Holy Bloodline series by the absolute undisputed sovereign of razor-sharp urban fantasy, cutthroat academic politics, and high-velocity pacing, D.N. Hoxa. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroad where a fierce, underestimated academy asset running an active survival loop, a powerful network of elite supernatural gatekeepers, and an absolute defense of a student's personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn fantasy thrillers, where an endangered, hyper-observant female protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of corrupt upper-class legacy students, lethal combat training trials, and a deadly ring of active faculty gaslighting while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised educational ecosystem, where an analytical mind uses deep defensive spellcasting, hidden lineage configurations, and absolute psychological stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory administrative syndicate, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, ruthless testing unearthing a buried institutional conspiracy diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Hoxa completely dominates the dark paranormal academy suspense dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating institutional paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like Jamin Eve, K.F. Breen, Kelly Crane, and Chandel Levon, while treating realistic combative training logistics, complex personal alignment arcs, and protective magical shielding grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central heroine, operating under a severe calculation-heavy handicap of a newly revealed illegal bloodline status, intense academy hazing protocols, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the institution's ruling pureblood houses. Behind her rigorous training footprints and tense classroom logs lies an intricate matrix of hidden faction allegiances, deeply buried emotional secrets, and sharp, high-stakes political maneuvers. Her collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of outrunning exploitation, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from rival students, parsing complex behavioral shifts from her powerful, dangerous male rivals or allies, and shielding her vulnerable personal autonomy nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless elite or faculty cleanup offensive. The spark ignites when an unexpected, high-frequency structural anomaly breaches her active scanning perimeter. As the Academy's testing phases enter an increasingly lethal terminal tier, a series of suspicious sabotage attempts, targeted administrative setups, and calculation-heavy arena ambushes threaten to permanently eliminate her from the Academy roster. The official diagnostic metrics of the Institutional Tracking Center flash white-hot when her defensive maneuvers and raw output reveal that her forbidden alignment is radically, impossibly altering the school's historical balance of magical power. The standard boundaries of routine academic rivalries and peaceful training protocols crumble, and our central protagonist runs completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. She is thrust directly into an active, invisible war across the campus, where deceptive noble houses, highly manipulative faculty instructors, and a calculation-heavy underground syndicate launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress her advancement data stream. The tactical parameters instantly explode as her historical and survival war turns completely active, transforming the Grand Lecture Hall's dark training grounds and private noble estates into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our veteran survivalist protagonist is forced to deploy her massive intuitive tradecraft, environmental mapping skills, and raw magical stamina to maintain her perimeter before the next competitive elimination phase permanently deletes her progress. When deceptive romantic red herrings, corrupted arena parameters, and calculation-heavy physical ambushes launch aggressive plays to delete her path, her survival instincts engage her final deployment tracks. Every midnight library excavation, every silent choice to stand off against an arrogant high-ranking noble behind standard training barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the Academy Elite's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped as Hoxa reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving an exam or managing interpersonal rivalry. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and supernatural supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective web of loyalty around our central heroine, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending locked grid track and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient heroine must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a dark academy fantasy, paranormal suspense, institutional drama, high-velocity urban noir masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one-whispered secret triggers a fatal arena showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active group tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes courtyard confrontation, or a heavy, possessive realization that an elite faction leader has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Hoxa writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the cold, metallic clang of training weapons, the oppressive, heavy atmosphere of an elite testing pavilion before a combat trial, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished leather, ozone, burning incense, expensive parchment, whetstone, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this second franchise entry into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes academy dynamics and genuine magical power tradecraft alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic, modern corporate and aristocratic underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute, jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total, earned advancement to their horizon. The Elysean Academy of Darkness and Secrets is the definitive, pro-level upgrade your high-stakes urban fantasy and dark academy suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputtable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So, secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the academy.